Hey everyone, Jack here, Talk Norwich City. Hope you're all doing very well indeed. What a busy and frantic week we've had as Norwich City fans. The pursuit to find a new manager has been a long and turbulent one, but it seems like we've finally reached a destination, and that destination is Dean Smith. Of course, managed in the Premier League this season with Aston Villa and was sacked the day after Daniel Farke. Now, this report is coming in from Michael Bailey. There's been plenty of reports this week, and I'm sure we'll get onto it later on in this video. But Michael Bailey, usually spot on. So I'm trusting this as pretty much good to go. This comes from The Athletic, and it reads, Norwich have offered the head coach's job to Dean Smith. The Athletic understands the plan is for the Leicester and Aston Villa assistant Craig Shakespeare to come in as his number two. Norwich are expecting to announce the pair's arrivals in the next 48 hours. Frank Lampard was reported to have pulled out of the race on Friday, and now Norwich City have moved for Dean Smith, who took Villa to the Premier League and kept them there for 2 seasons. Really interesting week. I think there's been a lot of kind of frantic reporting from a lot of the nationals, and I suspect the mood around Stuart Webber's office has actually been quite a calm one. Let's go back to kind of the Sunday, Monday, Tuesday preceding Daniel Farke's sacking, and there were always 3 main names really, and they were Frank Lampard, Knutsen from in Norway, and then Dean Smith got added to that list. And I think the majority of the trustworthy journalists on the Norwich City beat have always said there's been 2 or 3 names. Sky Sports and TalkSport reported on Friday that Frank Lampard had been offered the job and was ready to accept it. And he didn't. And I do wonder whether he was actually offered the job, or whether the Nationals had been fed a bit of a dud line from whoever's advising them. It does seem now, though, that Dean Smith is the name that Norwich City have fallen on. And I guess it raises questions. From the people I follow on Twitter, there's a 50-50 kind of split of some saying seems like a really strange decision, some, myself included in that, some feeling quite excited about this appointment. Smith has managed Walsall, Brentford, and most recently Aston Villa. I think you speak to any Aston Villa fan and they were similar to Norwich fans, really disappointed to see Dean Smith go, but probably understood why. I think Villa's approach to sacking Smith was probably slightly more reactionary than Norwich City's decision to sack Daniel Farke. I mean, Villa had lost 5 games in a row, which is poor form, but it's a fairly small sample size. And before that, he'd done a fairly good job. And you must remember as well, much like Norwich City lost Emi Buendia and strangely went to Aston Villa, Villa lost Jack Grealish, and he was an integral part of the way that they played football. So he had his challenges there. But I look at the job he's done at all 3 of the clubs. Walsall, I loved what he did at Brentford, kind of set them up for Thomas Frank to take over and really kick on with them. And took Aston Villa, a club that were kind of in a, not turmoil, but they were struggling in the Championship to get what they wanted. And Dean Smith not only gave them an identity, and I know he's, holds Aston Villa close to his heart, but pulled them into the Premier League and kept them there, and they remain there, and I suspect that they will remain there from this point onwards. I think what I'm trying to say is the pattern that I've seen throughout his 3 clubs that he's managed at, he's left them all in better positions than what he picked them up in. And that's always been the ethos of Stuart Webber. He's constantly said that whether it's him or the head coach that he employs, their only job is to leave the club in a better position than when they picked them up. And I think that's really important. Now, we'll go more into depth in this when, firstly, the announcement is made, and secondly, we've got a bit more insight. We're going to be talking to some Aston Villa fans in the coming weeks. But for me, it feels positive. The football he plays is often a 4-3-3, 4-3-2-1. Again, squad feels like it's most suited to that formation, and it's probably the formation in which we recruited for. So that feels like a benefit. And I guess because we've heard the names of Frank Lampard, and I guess this Knutson came with a certain degree of unknown, which is very exciting for football fans. And because that was the model where we picked up Daniel Farke from, I think Norwich fans got excited about that, and I did as well. I liked the sound of Knutson, but Dean Smith doesn't have the bells and whistles of a Frank Lampard, but I think he's a better manager. I was never convinced that Frank Lampard quite felt right. I think the benefits were his contact book. I think he would have put Norwich City onto a global scale, which doesn't win you football matches, but is probably beneficial commercially. But I've never been convinced with what he did at Derby. I wasn't overly keen on what he did at Chelsea. And I wasn't sure if he was going to be in it for the long run. Dean Smith seems like the character who is ready to go after a tough season at Aston Villa and has a good track record. And I think what Norwich City fans must remember, Norwich are bottom of the Premier League, 5 points adrift. One game, one all season. We're not going to be able to pick from a large pool of managers. And to get Dean Smith, who's managed at a big club in the Premier League this season, feels to me like probably the best we're going to do. Now, I'm not saying he'll keep us up in the Premier League. I think we've got a better chance now. But I like it. It makes sense to me. I'd love to hear what you guys think of this appointment. Of course, not done yet, but it looks like it's going to be announced within the next 48 hours, according to Athletic reports. As always, a massive thank you for watching, and I'm really looking forward to the next few weeks. It's never boring being a Norwich City fan. It's fair to say that. Thanks for watching. See you again very soon. Bye bye.